Hello and welcome to This Week in James City County. I'm your host, Renee Dahlman. Today we are once again joined by Doug Powell. Doug is the General Manager for the James City Service Authority. Welcome, Doug.
Thank you, Renee. Glad to be here.
Glad to have you. So we had some information come out from the Service Authority that we wanted to get out to the public as soon as possible. And the podcast was a great way to do that as part of all of the other ways that we're getting it out. So Doug, can you take a few minutes and explain to us what's going on?
We wanted to alert our customers that we've had a break in one of our primary distribution lines. This broken main has not resulted in any customers being out of service. And currently, customers should not notice any difference in their water pressure. Under current demands, there should be no impact to the customer. However, as the summer approaches and irrigation season approaches, we are concerned that water pressure could decline in the summer months during peak times. As a result of this, we are also concerned that if the water pressure lowers, that it could impact pressure and flow for fire protection purposes. And therefore, we are entering stage one of our water conservation plan, which is asking our customers to voluntarily conserve water. And specifically, we're asking customers not to irrigate their lawn until further notice. I wanted to note that if you're a sub-meter customer, your sub-meter fee will be waived until further notice. And I also want to be very clear that this voluntary restriction on irrigation applies to all JCSA water customers, with the exception of 8 neighborhoods that are on independent wells. And these neighborhoods are Glenwood Acres, Kings Village, Liberty Ridge, Racefield, Riverview Plantation, The Retreat, Ware Creek Manor, Westport, and Wexford Hills. This voluntary restriction does not apply to those neighborhoods. It also does not apply to customers, residents in James City County who are customers of Newport News Waterworks.
Okay.
This does not apply to them either.
So Doug, how long is this going to go on?
We are making every effort to replace this line as quickly as possible. However, it does require that we obtain a variety of local, state, and federal permits before we can begin construction. Our best guess at this time is that the line will be back in service about the middle of July.
Okay, so folks in really the majority of the county have been asked to voluntarily conserve water, and particularly when it comes to irrigation, because irrigation, water in your yard, that takes a lot of water, right?
That's correct. Our demands go way up in the summertime. Our demand can sometimes be double in the summer what it is in the wintertime. So yes, it does place a pretty significant burden on our system, which is again why we're asking people not to irrigate until this water main can be replaced.
Now, does this new voluntary restriction, how does that work with, I just hit my microphone with my hands. How does that work with the current outdoor water use regulations that are in place normally every year?
Right. Yes. Good question. It supersedes those.
Okay.
We're asking the regulations that you reference basically dictate that customers irrigate their lawn 3 days a week, and the schedule depends on their address. We're asking customers not to irrigate at all until further notice.
Well, and I have to tell you, Doug, I can never remember if we're odd or even, or so it's for us, it's kind of a relief, but I understand that for others, that may be a little bit more difficult. I think whenever I hear about water main breaks and issues with water, I'm worried about the pressure, of course. And also, has there been any need for, at any point, was the water compromised? Is there a need for boil water or anything like that?
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. And again, I want to emphasize, we really don't have an issue with normal domestic demands.
Okay.
Customers should not see any difference currently. We're concerned about when everybody turns their irrigation system on as the summer goes on and the temperatures get warmer.
Okay. So probably what we should do then is once all of those permits have been obtained, have you come back when you have a little bit more of an idea in terms of the timeline? I mean,
Sure,
so
I'd be happy to.
yeah,
Yes.
that would be helpful.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
anything else that you'd like to talk about?
I just want to say that I realize that these voluntary restrictions are inconvenient, and we understand that. But in the interest of public safety and ensuring adequate fire protection, we're urging our customers not to irrigate their lawns. We're hopeful that these voluntary restrictions will have the desired impact. If they do not, then we would have to consider mandatory restrictions. But for the time being, we're hoping that the voluntary restrictions will be adequate.
Okay. Well, Doug, thank you so much. I know that we had talked about doing a podcast at some point, and then all of a sudden, here we are. And then I threw video on you this morning. You were used to the way we normally do them. And I said, no, let's do video so we can show maps and stuff like that. So I really appreciate your flexibility on that.
All right. Thank you for helping us get the word out.
Absolutely. Well, that wraps up this episode of This Week in James City County. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, please take a moment to go online and subscribe. That way you will be sure to never miss an episode. You can find us. We're at jamescitycountyva.gov/podcast. And you can find all of our episodes as well as a form where you can give us show ideas, feedback. We would love to hear from you.